Hey all, what's up everybody? Tim with this week's SCE. Hope wherever you're at, you are doing phenomenal and crushing it. Thanks so much for watching. Title for today's shoot is Eliminate the Fear of Loss. And what I want to talk about is the number one enemy of success, and that is the fear of loss. Because what I found that happens is when we become successful and we start to achieve and accumulate and gather, and we've got a certain level of financial accumulation, we've got a certain degree of status, we've got positions, we've got possessions, we've got all kinds of things going on, we tend to move into a state of comfort. We tend to play not to win, but to not lose. And when you're playing to not lose as opposed to playing to win, you are in a situation that ultimately is going to sap the life out of you from the inside out. Because when you're hungry and when you're pushing it, and when you are pursuing a vision and you're pursuing your desire, you have a white hot energy inside of you. It brings excitement and energy and enthusiasm and passion and fire to your life. But when you start to trade vision and goals and desire for comfort and security, you're just marking time and you're actually losing ground because things are either expanding or they're contracting, and that is the kiss of death. And what I find a lot of times, and I've struggled with this myself, is you get to a certain level of success and you don't want to lose what you got. So you stop taking those risks and you stop pursuing those goals and you stop expanding your vision because you're more afraid of loss than you are excited about gain. And that's disastrous. And I think back to the movie Rocky III. When you look at Rocky III, Rocky was the world champion. And he got soft and he was fighting easy fights. And he lost the belt to a guy named Clubber Lang, who was played by Mr. T. And he had to fight Mr. T again, but he wasn't training. His heart wasn't in it. And he got confronted by his wife. And his wife said, "What's the matter? This is not the Rocky I know." And Rocky said, "Ultimately, I'm afraid. I'm afraid to lose what I've got. I'm afraid to lose you. I'm afraid to lose kids. I'm afraid to lose my status. I'm afraid to lose the money." And Adrian says to him, she says, "What do we have that we can't replace? We've got all this stuff, but none of this stuff is worth anything if the man who I know isn't showing up." And he wasn't showing up as a man. He wasn't doing what he needed to do. He wasn't pursuing what he needed to pursue. He knew it, she knew it, because he was afraid of loss. And the fear of loss will destroy you. So how do you overcome that fear of loss? Well, the first thing we have to realize is that eventually everything in our life is going to go away. We're going to die and we're not going to be able to take anything with us. And that's not a disempowering position. That's an empowering position, because when we start to look at everything as being a gift in our life, the people, the positions, the money, whatever the case may be, it's a gift. And we're a steward of it. We're not an owner of it. It's not a permanent arrangement. And when we move in that position, it allows us to live without attachments. There isn't anything that ultimately we shouldn't be able to give up. And I know that can be really hard and really challenging, but when we're attached to something, when we're attached, that means we're connected to it, we're hooked to it, and that thing has us, we don't have it. And that means you're ultimately controlled by that person or that situation or that job or that financial level or whatever the case is, and you're in bondage to it. And it might not seem obvious, but that is in fact the case. And many times when we're attached and we're controlled, we're not who we really are, and we need to be willing to give that up. And oftentimes we hold on to what's good at the compromise of what's great. And then we hold on to what's great. We get what's great, and we hold on to that, and we don't want to let go of it, and it keeps us from getting what's awesome. So when you're willing to let go of things, and you're allowing them to just come and go as they please, and you're allowing them the freedom to move in and out of your life, you are tremendously empowered, and you're making the space for greater and greater things to come up. The next thing I would ask you to is, what's more important to you? Is it comfort and just existing? Or is it that energy, that fire, that enthusiasm that you had? I think back when I first started out in my career, I made virtually nothing. I had nothing. I was in this rundown apartment. I was earning virtually $0. I had really a crappy job, but I was hungry. I was hungry for life. And you look back at those days and you go, yeah, I was alive and I was excited, even though I didn't have anything. And then you can contrast that to some of the success you get, and you go, you know what? I'm not as alive as I used to be. And typically that's because we're not taking the risks and we're trading the vision and the passion for security. So when you get to a point of really strong super success, you have to watch that you don't trade that vision, that fire for comfort, because it's easy to do because we're afraid of losing. But that keeps us from the very place we need to go. And oftentimes the fear of loss is just an illusion. And once you step out of that, you realize you're not going to lose it. You're actually going to expand even more and more. And it allows you to own those things and to have that position and not to have those things own you. So right now, what do you need to be doing that you're not? What do you need to do to rekindle that fire? What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? What would you do if you knew you couldn't lose? Ask yourself those questions, because the answer to getting your passion, your fire back, the answer to stepping out of the comfort zone and into the vision zone is found in the answer to those questions. If time and money wasn't an issue, what would you do? If you knew you couldn't fail, where would you be? Are you playing to win? Are you playing not to lose? Because I'd be willing to bet everything you've done and accomplished has been a result of playing to win and not in playing to lose. So you got to take a look inside yourself and ask yourself, has the fire gone out? Am I playing to not lose, or am I playing to win? And what's it worth to get that fire, that ambition, that drive back? And how's that going to affect me? How's that going to affect my kids? How's that going to affect everybody around me? Because you're too important and you have too much value to just mark time and not pursue those things. So go after that dream. Go after that vision. Separate yourself from the illusion of loss. Separate yourself from the comfort zone and step out and do and become and go after what you know you're supposed to do. Because it's in doing that that got you to where you are now. And it's a lie that says you can't continue to do things, that you're going to go backwards. Not true. And another, great mentor of mine, they asked him, they said, what would happen if you lost everything? He said, I'd start over. So I'd simply start over because I know I can replicate it because I did it before. So you need to return to that place of confidence, of centeredness, and certainty that if you did it before, you can do it again. And when you dispatch that fear of loss, you become success looking for a place to happen. You have not yet achieved the maximum height that you have. You've not achieved your greatest days. Your greatest days and best days are in front of you, but you will not find them if you live in the comfort zone and you don't live in the vision zone. So eliminate that fear of loss. Do the things that you did in the past that got you to where you are. Continue to do those. Don't slip into playing to not lose. Play to win, because you're worth it, the people around you are worth it, and frankly, the gift that you have, the world needs. So show up with all of you. Continue to put the accelerator down now until the day you die, and you will never regret it. Tim, with today's SCE, eliminate that fear of loss. Take the risk. Go for it. Get out of the comfort zone and into the vision zone. You'll never, ever regret it. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon.